Hey guys, it's SMD. Today I'm going to be responding to some arguments made by Aaron, Charles, and Sonics about offstage walls in the Smash University video, What Top Players Think About the Rule Set. I specifically wanted to respond to some arguments that they made about offstage walls just because I don't think that they're viewing them in the right way. The first argument I'm going to be talking about is Aaron's argument. Basically, he says that offstage walls create too much depth while also making more linear recovery angles.
If you want to look at it, like I said, it's a subjective thing, but then it's also really objective that stages with walls have so much more added depth that I don't think is like good or healthy depth for the game, like wall clinging and like the linear recovery angles and stuff like that. I don't think that's very good or like fun or competitive.
Offstage walls do make recoveries more linear in some ways. Because there's a wall and you can't go under the stage, there's a lot of space there. On other stages, you could go under. On Battlefield, you can go under the stage, but on Kalos, you can't go under it. You're stopped by the wall. That means that there's some space that you just can't use while recovering compared to other stages. However, as Aaron does acknowledge, offstage walls generally do add more depth than they do linearity. You may not be able to go under the stage now, but you can go lower and still recover to ledge because of the wall being there. You can use wall jumps, you can use wall clings to stall your recovery or change which angle you're going to be recovering from in order to get to ledge. You can also ride the wall to ledge from a wider range of angles.
But what I don't like, Kalos, is the walls are garbage. Walls are garbage. Wall clinging is not fun. It's stalling. It's just boring. I don't like the multiple wall jump thing. It doesn't look right. It's weird. And like I said earlier, I don't like the linear recoveries. I don't like Fox just being able to ride the wall and tech it every time, and stuff like that. Like there needs to be variety there. And I really like how most stages in Smash have that like empty, like kind of V-shaped stage design where there's a lot more like room and maneuverability and like outplay potential because you have so much freedom on the stage in Smash as opposed to other fighters. Why are we limiting it now off stage? Like
Aaron's issue with buffing recoveries is that it makes the game more defensive. However, I don't think that having some more defensive options is necessarily bad. Yes, wall clinging is technically stalling off stage, but there's a lot of ways to stall your recovery to avoid an edgeguard, and I think that's fine. I think that's good. I think that adds more complexity to edgeguards and recoveries. It makes the game more interesting. Aaron is arguing for more linear recoveries. He doesn't want players to have options to wait out an edgeguard. He wants things to be like how they are now, where it's either, oh, I can definitely edgeguard this person, I'm gonna do it, and it's basically guaranteed, or, well, fuck, I have nothing to contest this recovery, so I'm just gonna let them recover, I'm gonna avoid edgeguarding, and I'm gonna go to ledge trapping. That's how the game is now. You either go for your guaranteed edgeguard, or you stay on stage and you ledge trap. This means that overall recoveries have more depth. I like adding as much depth as possible to a competitive game. If we can change the stage list and increase the complexity of recoveries, I think that's a good thing. However, I also like edgeguards, and increasing the complexity of recoveries seems like it would nerf edgeguards. However, I don't think that's necessarily true. Because while offstage walls generally do buff recoveries, I think they buff edgeguards even more. Because in a lot of cases, your recovery isn't even going to be affected by an offstage wall versus an offstage slant. If you're recovering high, if you're recovering straight to ledge, if you're going low but you don't have enough horizontal movement to get all the way to the wall, then a wall isn't going to do you any good. It's not going to change anything. And in a lot of cases, you need to be both a character that either has a wall jump or a wall cling, and high mobility options that leave you in a state where you can still use that wall jump. Someone like Mario does have a wall jump, but he doesn't have that much horizontal movement, so he's probably just going to be up being the ledge. Unless you play somebody like Bayonetta or Lucario or Diddy Kong, who can wall cling and wall jump after they've used their recovery options, then a wall isn't that big of a buff. However, as an edgeguarder starting from stage, you have access to the entire wall right away. If you have a wall jump or wall cling and you're edgeguarding, then you can always use that resource. You always have access to it. That's something that a recovering character just doesn't always have access to. Not only that, but edgeguarding with a wall behind you is just less risky than without one, because you can always tech it. You're not as at risk to reversals as you are without a wall. Offstage walls buff edgeguarding more than they buff recoveries.
I don't know if people understand how like walls are defensive, right? Like Aaron was talking about it. Like there's wall clinging. It also promotes techs. It also promotes like guarantee recoveries where it's like I can like up B into this and like guarantee just tech right off of it and then, go tech wall jump, directional air dodge to ledge. I'm good.
Charles has a big issue with recoveries just riding up the wall, and if they get hit, then they just tech, and then they get back on stage for free. And while that's something that definitely does happen with walled stages, it also happens with our current stage list. The safest recoveries in this game can just go under the stage and ride up the wall anyway. It's a slant, but you can still tech it. In fact, those recoveries are even safer than recovering with just a wall, because at least when there's a wall, they can't go under the stage. You at least have an opportunity to attack them. And when somebody's riding up a wall, you shouldn't be trying to spike them, because yeah, they will definitely try to tech that. You should just try to hit them outwards into the blast zone, or at least off stage, instead of right on the wall. So yeah, that's why I think offstage walls are good, and why I disagree with Smash University's video on the subject. I recommend go watching that whole video, it's pretty interesting. But yeah, I think we should try looking at some more stages with offstage walls, because I think they can increase the depth of the game.